Hey, what's up guys? Rev here. So today in our visit to the Twitter cinematic universe, we're going to be focusing on this individual, a person named Adam Ellis, who is a popular artist. You can see that he has nearly 1 million followers on Twitter. Now we're talking about Adam because he recently had a multiple day long meltdown over the topic of lolicon. And this is something that he'll be proven to be a massive hypocrite over, but also in the process, he attempted to water down related terms to the benefit of actual predators, while also going as far as mocking victims of child sexual abuse because he disagrees with their stance regarding drawings. So without further ado, let's get into it. It's a nightmare of a story. So it begins with this post, and this is a multi-layered one. I'll explain the context. So this user saying, it's so funny to me that the let people enjoy things guy retracted it a while back because people he didn't intend to enjoy things were enjoying things he doesn't like. So this is Adam's comic. It begins with this one from a few years back. You might have seen this before. It says, let people enjoy things while shutting someone's lips. So in 2019, he came out and made this post essentially killing the meme because of reasons we didn't know at the time. However, a few days ago, Adam came out and finally shared the bold secret that we've all been yearning for, and that he killed this meme because pedos were using it, which is a bold claim. I mean, if you made a meme and legitimate pedos were coming out of the woodwork to abuse your meme, maybe you would want to kill it too. Like, you can understand that. But of course, in the replies, just like any other terminally online section of Twitter, people are asking, well, wait a second, are these pedos like actual pedos or like lolicon pedos or stuff like that? Because we live in a time where people have to actually make it clear they're talking about real predators and not people that are into icky drawings, right? So Adam comes out with this banger saying, I should point out I killed it because actual pedophiles were using it, not just people who were using it to defend lolicon. That said, lolicons are just diet pedophiles. Explain to me how you being attracted to an anime child isn't disgusting. Well, he really had us in the first half, huh? But yes, the term diet pedophiles. Adam, there is no such thing as a diet pedophile, you terminally online goober. There is no such thing as someone who has a diet attraction to real life children. There is no such thing. It is a complete disservice to actual victims because now we're watering down the term pedo to not only cover fictional drawings, we're giving like a caveat here. A diet pedo. Yeah, you're a real hero. So we'll correct Adam as always. Lolicon does not have anything to do with anime child. Lolly is a body type, exclusive to fictional content, that involves a petite, short, and cute aesthetic of a character. It has nothing to do with age, so your projection about this being about anime children is just that. It's your projection. This is not correct. You don't even know what the definition of lolicon is, and yet you're sitting here giving your little diagnosis of diet pedos. Well, here's the problem, right? He is going to get dunked on, and people are going to point out his very obvious hypocrisy based on this statement, which is probably not very surprising because everyone who says this stuff ends up being a hypocrite. But in true fashion, this guy who is known for making bad takes, like I didn't really talk about this, he is a long compilation of bad takes. He gets dunked on all the time, but after making that tweet and getting dunked on, he does the classic, makes a bad tweet, turns on his notifications, and then shoves his phone up his ass and has a good night with that. Because anyone who does this, like I'm muting the notifications for this conversation, you're posting your L's, dude. It's because you don't know how to actually argue with anyone and to take any sort of feedback or criticism on your stupid posts you make online. But anyways, people were quick to point out various comics that Adam has made over the years. This was the most popular one people were pointing out from a couple years back, saying Sonic tops Pikachu at the box office, and he uses the wording of that article to make this art where Sonic, a canonically underage character, by the way, is banging Pikachu, which I think we could all agree is symbolic of a fictional animal or something like it. And then 9 months later, Pikachu gives birth to a baby called Sonichu, which is, of course, a reference to Chris Chan and his wonderful Sonichu creation that made him infamous on the internet. So let me get this straight. People enjoy lolly, are diet pedos, but you are not a diet zoophile for having an underage character banging Pikachu and giving birth to Sonichu, which is a reference to, of course, Chris Chan. But Chris Chan, I think this came out after or before he was arrested for banging his own dementia-ridden mother. But Chris Chan had a long history of being a creep and having all kinds of controversy surrounding him, including being a furry himself. So you can joke about all those things, but it's the lolly stuff that gets you branded a diet pedo. But you're not going to be called a diet zoophile for all of this. And quite frankly, a diet pedo by your own standards, because Sonic is underage. But I'm surprised that people didn't find this other stuff. This was just like the tip of the iceberg. This was the image most people are dunking on him with. But dude, it's so much worse. Here's one of his old comics titled Horny Lions, where of course Nala and Simba are about to bang, and he's in the movie theater saying, wait, are these lions gonna bang? And then says, Simba, that's your cousin. So, once again, by your own standard, diet zoophile here, because you have two lions, fictional lions, about to bang, and you're fantasizing about it, and also making jokes about incest. So, I feel like that's the least of anyone's concerns when we're talking about fictional bestiality, but nonetheless, it's just another thing that he can apparently get away with himself, but can call other people diet pedos over types of fictional content he doesn't like. So he's had a very long enjoyment of furry-related content. So back in 2020, he made this tweet saying, I'm drawing myself as a furry for Patreon because money is more important to me than self-respect. Isn't that the truth, Adam? And I can't decide what breed of sexy dog I should be. Yes, and also, unrelated, but another Adam. I don't know what's up with Adams being creeps, but this Adam down here, I have to censor it in the replies. I can't get rid of it. He posted a twerking dog. Like, I don't want to see that, dude. This is the kind of people you're attracting with these posts. But let's see. What kind of a breed of sexy dog did Adam end up? Well, here it is. I have to censor it for obvious reasons. But as promised, he drew himself as a furry at 17k followers. But it turns out it's very difficult, thwarted by my own hubris once again. And doing a couple woofs at the end of this tweet. So, yeah, so he's definitely not a diet zoophile by his own standards. I mean, that dog is walking on two limbs, so clearly it is different than something like a lolly, which is, you know, a fictional body type, a petite body type that has nothing to do with age. But this guy can draw a dog-faced man with his schlong out, and as long as it's standing on two legs, I guess he's in the clear, am I right? Well, let's go back to that main thread. So there was something I mentioned at the beginning of the video. You probably were waiting for this. This user replied to the main Diet Pedos tweet saying, do you know how many victims of child sexual abuse find catharsis in lolly shota art? Please don't say stuff like this. It's so dismissive and hurtful to survivors of abuse. Fantastic point, right? It is a very to the point, politely stated response to what he's trying to do by watering down these terms and equating drawings to real life victims. Well, how would Adam respond to this? Well, in a now deleted reply, where he would post a eye-rolling gif, of course, mocking their post, mocking an actual CSA victim's opinion, where they're essentially saying, don't treat me the same way you treat drawings. my abuse is not the same as icky drawings on the internet. And this was his response to those concerns. Eye rolling. Yeah. So Adam, you're a freak. You're a terrible person. You can say a lot of things about people on the internet, but whenever you see mocking of actual abuse victims over differing opinions on fictional content, you're just kind of a special kind of gross in anyone's eyes, in any reasonable person's eyes. And it just shows you're a giant baby. You're just a giant baby who can't take any sort of a real criticism to your dog shit opinions online. And the original user would actually reply, and honestly, it states it better than I can. I mean, just completely slam dunking on this guy, saying, really cool reaction to a victim of CSA asking for your sympathy. I'm even triggered by most lolly show, personally. I just wanted to be treated like my suffering is more important than cartoons. But thank you for your obvious disinterest in survivors. Well said. Yeah, it is very clear to Adam and many Twitter freaks like this that they care way more about fictional content than real life abuse victims. And they will mock and torment these people. It happens all the time. It's so disturbing. A CSA victim will come forward and say, please don't equate my suffering to drawings. And they get mocked and ridiculed. And Adam's just the latest to do it. And you know what? It comes as no surprise that eventually he deleted it. And it was up for like 10 hours, by the way. Had, I think, 30 or 40,000 views on his reply before it was finally taken down. So, having a massive platform, 1 million followers nearly on Twitter, and you're mocking CSA victims, pretty terrible look, if you ask me. And there's really nothing else to say. And I appreciate this person who has a personal disgust of lolly show content saying these sorts of opinions, that they still don't want those things to be compared to their real life abuse. Because at the end of the day, if you find this stuff disgusting or immoral or it triggers you in some way, that is a-okay. That is completely fine. That is within your right to do. You should block and ignore people who post that stuff. And it's a completely normal reaction. We're talking about a fetish, a fictional content-based fetish. Like, you don't have to deal with this if you don't want to. But it is a different thing to have disgust for it versus going out and calling people pedos or diet pedos, as this guy wants to do, over something that you don't have to consume and has no bearing on real life abuse. Because there's not a single study that I'm sure Adam would be unable to find that will prove any sort of connection between this content and real life victimization and abuse of children. Adam won't find it. Nobody's found it. And people still treat it like it's an objective fact that consumption of lolly show is related to abuse of real life children. And yet there's no proof of it. Again, you can find it disgusting, but hold off your pedo and diet pedo comments until you have any sort of a real argument to make other than a shock to your conscience that you allow to treat people however you want and accuse them of horrible things online over pixels you don't like. And honestly, it continued. Adam just being a giant little piss baby online. This user saying, Adam Ellis, who was recently canceled for drawing Sonic and Pikachu effing, calling other artists degenerates and being an a-hole to CSA survivors. And the meme saying, I can excuse the bestiality, but I draw the line at little anime girls. Where he replies to, Sonic is an adult and happily married to this rat girl. Yeah, like, be for real, dude. I mean, besides lying, it's just cringe. Like, my reaction is how I feel right now. Like, it's just embarrassing. Like, Adam, I'm sorry, dude, but you're a creep. Like, honestly, by your own standards, you would be a diet pedo. You'd be a diet zoophile. And honestly, by any reasonable person's standard, including my own, you're a bully. You're a terminally online bully who goes around mocking CSA victims because they don't agree with your reckless statements about fictional content. And you know what? It's hardly surprising at this point that people like Adam feel so empowered to say these ridiculous statements in front of a huge platform. And you know what? You deserve to get made fun of for this. Terrible, terrible take. And honestly, for the furry artist, like you really need to have some self-awareness, because all this is just embarrassing and just another, I guess, reason to laugh at you. But it has to be getting a little old, right? Like getting attention for this. Like, do you really need that the interactions that badly? You have nearly 1 million followers. You need to post blatant garbage like this to get people to make fun of you for attention? Like, grow up, dude. But that's going to do it for this video. Please let me know all of your thoughts about this in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.